take a look at this. This is something new. Buses filled with migrants from our southern border have just arrived outside Vice President Kamala Harris's residence at the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. Griff Jenkins is live on the scene to tell us more. Griff, is that Massachusetts Avenue that I'm looking at right there?
Yeah. Good morning, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian. This bus just arrived moments ago. I talked to some of the folks. Apparently, this bus has come from Del Rio, Texas. That's what a gentleman on the bus told me. And these, pardon me, ¿de dónde eres?
De Venezuela.
¿Venezuela? ¿Habla inglés?
No.
¿Sí, no? ¿No? La presidenta Harris dice que frontera cerrado. La frontera es cerrado or abierto?
Abierto.
Abierto. So what she's saying, Steve, I asked her, Vice President Harris says that the border is closed. She says it's open as we see these migrants coming across now. We're not sure how many there are. We do know that, according to Texas Governor Abbott's office, there have been about 7,900. Pardon me, do you speak English? ¿Habla inglés?
No, amigo.
¿De dónde eres?
Venezuela.
Venezuela? Everybody from todos Venezuela?
Sí, venimos prácticamente de Venezuela, un país muy duro. En realidad queríamos ya salir de allá, tenemos días viajando. Migración también nos ha jodido mucho en México, pero lo que queremos es triunfar, queremos evolucionar, queremos tener de todo, queremos...
Okay, thank you. Yeah, buena suerte. So I'm not going to be able to translate all of that, and I wouldn't even try because it wouldn't look good on live TV. But as you can see, they're coming across here, all of these migrants. It appears to be at least 20 or so at this point. We have two buses. So what I was saying was, we know from Governor Abbott's office, there have been about 7,900 migrants on over 190 buses coming to D.C., more than 2,200 on more than 40 buses to New York, and, of course, about 5 buses to Chicago with a little over 300 migrants. ¿De dónde eres?
Buenos días, ¿cómo está?
¿De dónde eres?
No entiendo, no inglés.
¿Habla inglés?
No.
Okay. Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien.
¿De dónde eres?
De Venezuela.
¿Venezuela? Me llamo Griff. ¿Cómo se llama?
Gaby.
All right. Buena suerte. As you can see, children coming across here. ¿Habla inglés? ¿Habla inglés? No. The majority of migrants that have been coming, and I can give you some of the most recent numbers, but in the last month, about 70% are single adults. But as you can see, these are not all single adults. A lot of families getting off of this bus right now as we try and figure out exactly how many. We can just pan over here for a second, Martin. You can see it's a large gathering now. We don't know where they're going to go.
Right.
They don't know where they're going to go because there's no one from the D.C. Office of Immigration meeting them. There are a few other reporters out here. That's all that are here trying to figure out exactly where they're going to go next.
Griff,
No.
I don't know if Griff... Hey, Griff, can you hear me? I think we have Griff has momentarily lost contact with the mothership here.
Get you back now. Sorry about that, guys.
Griff, can you hear me?
I got you, Steve.
Okay. Griff, because you're not able to pick up a lot of details from those particular migrants, aside from a lot of them are from Venezuela, can you go into the front of that first of two buses and just ask the driver where they're from, and who asked them to pull up in front of Kamala Harris's house?
Yeah, let's go over here for a second, Martin. We'll see. And so we're just confirming with you, you're coming from Del Rio, Texas? All right.
I don't think they want to talk.
They're not able to talk to us, although we do have confirmation from the governor's office that the governor sent these buses here specifically to Vice President Harris's house, to the Naval Observatory here. But again, where these migrants are going to go right now is anybody's guess as we watch this unfold.
You know, Griff, you asked one of those migrants about there's irony involved in what they have done by shipping these two buses to the Naval Observatory, which it looks like you're right on Massachusetts Avenue. The vice president's house is just up the hill beyond a fence, the direction you're looking right there. She's in charge. She's the so-called border czar. So she's saying it's secure. And if two buses full of people who just walked across into this country on their own, if she thinks that's secure, all she's got to do is look out the window to see, this is the consequence of their open border policy.
Well, that's exactly right, Steve. And Governor Abbott's office tells us that they have chosen to drop the migrants off here outside of Vice President Harris's Naval Observatory home, specifically because of her comments on Meet the Press on Sunday, telling Chuck Todd that the border was secure, and it's obviously not. We'll take you up here just a little bit and see. Eventually, you would think at least the Secret Service or someone from Vice President Harris's office will come out to meet them. But right now, we'll just leave you with this live look, guys.
There you go. Two buses, a lot of migrants from Venezuela. All right, more in the top of the hour. In the meantime,
All right, Fox News alert moments ago. This is how the scene looked. Buses full of migrants,
We have
illegals who cross our border illegally, at Vice President Kamala Harris's doorstep.
that's right. That is Embassy Row, Massachusetts Avenue in the northwest part of the state. A lot of them identified themselves as being from Venezuela. They apparently, this trip originated in Texas, according to at least one person on board.
And they are dropping them off at the Naval Observatory where Kamala Harris lives. Griff Jenkins is live there this morning for us. Griff, I heard you talking to one of the people who got off the bus, said they were from Venezuela, and they said, no, the border is open.
That's right, Ainsley, Brian, Steve, good morning. Just a few minutes ago, two buses showed up. We confirmed with officials in Texas Governor Abbott's office that they are, there's a total of 101 migrants. There's 53 on one bus, 48 on the other, both buses originating in Eagle Pass, Texas. And we're meeting some of the migrants. What's your name, sir?
Wazir Khan.
Wazir, and where are you from?
We from Venezuela.
Venezuela. And do you know where you are?
Yeah, you know we are in Washington, D.C., in front of the White House.
This is in front of Vice President Harris's home.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Did they tell you that you were going to go to the Vice President Harris's house?
Yeah, now they tell me, just now.
They did, just now. And who are you here with?
My family.
This is your family?
Yeah, my family.
And what would you like to say? Would you like to say anything to Vice President Harris, who lives in the house behind you?
My gratitude to America, to all the people in America, and we need help,
We have
to go to New York. We want to go to New York.
secure border.
And do you believe that you are welcome to come to the U.S.? Do you believe that Vice President Harris is inviting you to the U.S.?
Yeah, that's
We
it. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
And
Secure
Vice
border.
President Harris said that the border is closed. Is the border closed? Do you believe that the border is closed, or is it open?
It's open, not closed. The border is open.
The border
We
is
have
open. Do you believe that all the migrants believe that the
a
border is
secure
open?
Yeah,
border.
everybody believes that the border is open. It's open because we enter, we come in, free, no problem.
But it's open for you to come illegally, right?
Illegally, yes, illegally, that's true.
And you came illegally,
Yeah, we came illegally, not legal.
not legal. Why did you come illegally?
Because the crisis of Venezuela, we got away, from the crisis of Venezuela.
And did you have to pay anyone, pay a smuggler?
No, we didn't pay no money, nothing, no smuggler, nothing. We didn't pay nothing.
And you can I'm going to give you a shot here, guys. Let's go over here, Wazir, while we're talking. We can see that someone has come outside. Some of the D.C. police, the Secret Service, we can see are now coming out. Now, we were also told by one of the officials that an NGO may be coming out to see them, but there's been no NGO here that we see. We're just seeing the Secret Service show up now. We'll try and put my mic in there and get a little bit of a listen to what he's saying.
Try to move off the fence for just closer to the sidewalk area.
Y por favor pueden moverse más hacia la acera y alejarse un poco de la red de la verja, por favor. Gracias.
And, sir, can you tell us what you're doing?
We're just watching our residents. That's it.
And were you notified that they were coming, that these migrants would be showing up?
I have no comment.
Okay, so it does appear that the Secret Service coming out, obviously, because this has shown up on their doorstep this morning, but they were not aware of that happening. And again, just to recap for our viewers, this is 101 migrants. They're not all from Venezuela. We have met at least one or two from Colombia and even one gentleman from Uruguay, it appears. And I just want to come back over here, if you can, and we'll continue talking to Wazir. Wazir, what will you do now? What is your plan now?
I plan is to go to New York. We live into New York.
You want to go? Why to New York?
Because I have my family there. They will receive us there. That's all.
And how did you learn that the border was open to come illegally? How did you learn to come?
Because we see it on the news that everybody coming illegally. So we also do the same, you know.
So you saw on the news in Venezuela that everyone could come illegally, and so you wanted to come for your family?
Yeah, also, that's it. That's all.
Do you have a contact in New York? Do you have someone to contact?
Yes, I have someone to contact, my family here.
Okay. And lastly, do you believe that President Biden has made it possible for you to come here? And what would you like to say to President Biden?
My gratitude to the President and all the members of the government. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Wazir. Thank you. That's the situation out here right now, though. These migrants are a little bit at a loss of what to do next, but clearly, as you can see, the Secret Service is not going to let them enter the Naval Observatory here where Vice President Harris lives now. We believe the Vice President is in there. She has a public event. She's going to be over at the White House a little later this morning for a United Against Hate summit that the President is hosting in the East Room. Guys, send it back to you.
Griff, there is room at the observatory. That's a big compound. And they could house all those immigrants. Do you think that's a possibility?
I have no idea, but I can tell you it's not a possibility right now because you can see now a few more Secret Service agents have come down the driveway from the Naval Observatory and just making sure no one's trying to go in here. And these migrants are here peacefully. They clearly, as you can see, have their belongings, Brian, and they have been told ultimately that they can come here. It's just yet another bus
where do they go
to the
now?
nearly 8,000.
Where do they go now?
Well, so now what they are waiting for is someone from a NGO, like a Catholic charity, or someone possibly with the D.C. Immigration Office. As we've seen in those buses coming near Union Station, the city has been sort of coordinating with an NGO to find a place to put them. But right now, there's no one here except for us and a few other members of the media out here trying to find out what they're going to do next. And we have not seen any representatives from either the mayor's office or from an NGO at this time.
Sure. And Griff, you said that the vice president has got events today, including going over to the White House. I know there are two ways in and out of the compound, the Naval Observatory. You're at the main guard gate right now. She may drive by and actually, for the first time, get a good look at the crisis on our southern border, which is actually at her curb.
And that is the intention from Governor Abbott's office, we are told, is to essentially, Steve, as you say, bring the border to her since she refuses to go and see it firsthand. I think what's been most interesting is that the migrants here were told ultimately that they were being brought to the vice president's office. And as we heard from them, they believe that they are welcome to come illegally, not legally, and that's compounding the problem that we're seeing turning up right now. It is interesting as well, no one from the vice president's office or Naval Observatory has come out except for the Secret Service, which obviously is in the guardhouse there. The observatory is a little farther up there, but take a look around. You can see the migrants here gathering, waiting for whatever happens next, and then as you come around here, you can see a few of them are sort of gathering, sort of self-organizing to try and figure out what step they'll take next. But right now, they're just here along Massachusetts Avenue, hoping someone will help them to get to wherever they want to go next.
It's interesting, Wazir said the borders are open. They just walked over. They came through. It was free, and they saw it on the news that America was open. Lots of little children there.
And they know they're allowed to get in. They know if they come, the border is open, and they know they're allowed to be here, even though it's illegal. They might be the greatest people in the world. They might be great assets. We have to have an immigration system, and it has to be adhered to.
You know, let me just leave you with one last thing, and that is the numbers. As you guys know, I routinely get the very latest numbers, and the overall fiscal year for the entire border is over 2 million. But in just the Del Rio Eagle Pass sector, which is where these migrants came from, in the last 24 hours, there were 2,042 illegal crossings. 2,042 crossed just in that Del Rio sector. They've had more than 456,000 migrants this fiscal year so far. That's just in the border sector of Del Rio and Eagle Pass, where these migrants have come from.
Indeed. All right, Griff, great reporting there along Embassy Row, Northwest Washington, D.C. As we heard from some of the people getting off the two buses that just downloaded in front of the vice president's house to bring attention to the fact that, hey, you let us in, now where do we go? They were largely from Venezuela. Every person we heard of was from Venezuela. Yesterday, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 50 Venezuelans were flown into Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Cape Cod, courtesy the the taxpayers of the state of Florida. Ron DeSantis sent 2 planefuls there. Remember, it was a couple of months ago, he said, we've got a bunch of migrants in the state of Florida illegally, I will send them to Martha's Vineyard. I will send them to Delaware. And today, actually yesterday at 3 o'clock, the governor made good on that promise.
Yeah, the governor's office did confirm that this happened. They said states like Massachusetts and New York and California, they can better facilitate the care of these individuals. They said the Florida legislature did appropriate $12 million to facilitate these types of transports. And the Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker's office said the administration's in touch with local officials on Martha's Vineyard, and in the short term, they will shelter. They'll have services. They're going to be provided by the local officials there on that island.
Yeah. So this is what they're doing. These Republican governors have nothing against Democrats, but the Democrats continue to look the other way at this issue that is changing our country. We actually have 4 million more people here than we had 18 months ago. What other country, I'll give you some time, answer at home, what other country took in 4 million strangers?
And those are just the ones we know of.
Who bypassed our system. They said an estimated 800,000 so-called gotaways, let alone the people that intentionally want to come here and inflict harm and sell drugs. So there's great people here. You see those families. You see their faces. Obviously, they just want a better life. We understand that. That's why there's consulates. That's why there's green cards. That's why there's background checks on everyone. You can't just storm into any place you want. You know that new house down your block? Wouldn't you love to see the inside? Are you allowed to walk right in there? I think the answer is no. Why? You are a good person because there are rules. You just can't trespass on an entire country. And the word is out. You come, you get in, and you stay.
Well, you know, it's interesting because the Biden administration is welcoming the people into the United States. Kamala Harris is less than 1,000 feet, probably about 600 feet away from a group of maybe 100, 150 migrants. It would be great if she just walked down through the guard gate, out to the street, and just said, welcome to the United States. You know what? We're going to take care of you.
She would never do
that's
it.
What they're doing.
But Steve, you mean great sarcastically, or do you think they would be good
I'm being
political?
sarcastic. Not in a million years. Keep in mind, Joe Biden, the guy whose administration is facilitating this, has never been to our southern border. Well, you know, thanks to Ron DeSantis and Governor Abbott, the southern border is now in Chicago. It's in Washington, D.C. It's outside the
2021. She said twice over the past week that our border was secure. You interview these individuals that are getting off the bus. Griff asked him, is our border secure? Is it closed? And he said, no, it's wide open. This is how we came over. We came over for free. We heard it on the news and we just walked over.
So that was happening live. We've got something else to show you, a live look at England where William